And we are live from the heartland of America. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, trying a new variation on lighting. I don't know if I like this one super good either, but we'll go with this one this morning. We want you to know the most important message that we have is that you're divine, you're sovereign, and you're free. You don't have to go on bended knee to anybody's savior because you don't need salvation. You've got the spark of divinity within and not original sin. And that is good news. And we're here to share that good news. I know everybody wants to talk about how bad things are, but it's just not true. Things are good and getting better, and they're going to be better than they've ever been very, very soon. And I've been working on this presentation for a couple of days, and today will be a rather busy day. We'll have a Cousins Club, private Cousins Club, top secret podcast. We'll have at least one more episode of regular podcast excellence. Tomorrow we'll have our first Cousins Club private little soiree, so that'll be fun. A lot of good stuff coming up, a lot of fun stuff coming up. So I want you to be aware of and be ready for that. But let's go ahead and jump right into our subject today. And it's very perplexing to me because the people that we talk to generally in this genre are people that have this idea and this hope and this want of sovereignty, freedom, that kind of thing. And one of the best ways to get sovereignty and freedom in your life is to be tuned to the real Schumann resonance of planet Earth. And you can get the Mistech bracelets, which do that for you. If you missed the show that we did with Halo this week, make sure that you catch up on it. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Mistech logo, blood tests, EMF tests, Carillion photography tests. Stuff works and is great for you. But most of the people, and I should say most of the people in this genre, they are people that, they say that they are after truth. They say that they are after sovereignty. Many of them even call themselves of the sovereignty movement. And yet they allow themselves to be herded. And they not only allow, but they support and fight for the hurting of humanity. So I know I always come at it from the, what are you, stupid point of view. And that's probably my default because that's the way I work and that's the way I think. But let's see, maybe if a spoonful of sugar can help the same medicine go down, we'll check it out and see how it works. So if biblical Christianity was rolled out as a social system, the people that watch this show on a regular basis, the people that watch YouTube on a regular basis in the genre that we're in, if they rolled out this idea as a social system, everybody watching would say not only no, but hell no, they would not be involved in it. And yet, when this idea is repackaged as a religion, it's literally a worldwide bestseller. And this idea makes us all captives, period. And it makes us all captives to an elite group of owners. And it herds us all. It breaks us all. It domesticates us all. And it turns rams into sheep. And objectively, empirically, if you could look at it for what it is without the emotion attached to it, none of you would accept it. Yet, almost all of you do accept it, or some slightly watered down version of it. Not really watered down, just intellectually, mentally hocus pocused. And not only do you accept it, but you fight to protect it. That's the ultimate in Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome, of course, is the idea that when a person gets kidnapped or taken hostage otherwise, that they actually develop feelings for their captors. And in many cases, when they send people in to liberate them, they will fight on behalf of their captors against their liberators. Tracy chimes in and says they even call their leaders a shepherd. They're totally telling you that not only have they bought the system, but they identify with the system now. I'm a sheep. We're just the sheep of his pasture. And it beggars description that this could really be taking place. And the key to being set free, I think, and the key to really realizing, especially those of us within this movement, the key is in the name that it's called. And you have to read into that and understand what I'm saying. So just make sure you get that. Judeo-Christian is a term which is used to group Christianity and Judaism together, either in reference to Christianity's derivation from Judaism. It came from Judaism. You can't deny that. Both religions' common use of the Bible. Most of the Bible, there's 66 books in the Bible, 26 is it in the New Testament, quote unquote. So that means almost double the amount, almost way over half. That'd be three quarters? 3/4 of your scriptures are the same ones that are from the Jewish religion. You have parallels, you have commonalities, you have shared values between the two religions, and they're grouped together for good reason. They're essentially the same religion. How can any two religions that worship the same God and read the same scriptures be said to be different? Think about it. It's like a German shepherd and a golden doodle arguing and saying, no, we're not dogs. It does, however, set up two classes: rulers and those that are just invited to the party. And due to the work of the National Conference of Christians and Jews, the phrase Judeo-Christian entered the contemporary lexicon, that means the words that we normally speak and say, as the standard term for the idea that Western values rests on a religious consensus that includes Jews and really came from Jews. We're talking about Judeo-Christianity. And it's a social structure disguised as a religion, and it's built on guilt. And the base foundation of the idea is original sin. This sets up the Judeo-Christian herd. You are born from your first breath with sin you inherited from somebody else that you never met, never knew. That's the idea. But the reality is that the exact opposite is true. You're born divine, sovereign, and free with a spark of divinity within you. And the foundation for the hierarchy is found in Scripture. So you're bad. You're part of the herd of bad original sin people. And then Genesis 12:3, God, or Mon, who supposedly is no respecter of persons, Peter told us that, promises that he'll bless you if you bless a certain group of people and their descendants. And he will curse you if you curse them. Why would a God that's no respecter of persons say, bless these people, I'll bless you. Curse these people, I'll curse you? That's called an elite. That's called a special ruling class. And the Psalms further encourage us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Why Jerusalem? Why not pray for the peace of Washington, D.C.? Why not pray for the peace of Bonn? Why not pray for the peace of pick any country's capital city? Why not? Other factors include the recognition of and gratitude to the Jews, the limbs, for contributing to the theological foundations of Christianity and being the source of the prophets and Hebrew Destu. Guilt for the events that happened in World War II and the fear that God will judge the nations at the end of time on the basis of how they treated the Lemish people. It is spiritual multi-level marketing. It's a spiritual multi-level scheme. And I think objectively, empirically, if somebody said, hey, we want you to do this, you'd say no. But when it's wrapped in religion and it's wrapped in guilt and it's presented by supposedly this only God and this only book, that's what they get you, and that's how they get you to buy into it. Now, thankfully, some captives begin to see it. And the first thing they do is like when you send in somebody to rescue somebody that's been kidnapped and they're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, the first thing they'll do is fight against you, the ones that are trying to free them. And some captives see it, but they lash out, at least subconsciously, at their liberators, at me. The fact of the matter is, Christians can no more differentiate themselves from Jews than German shepherds can separate themselves from golden doodles, and both share the same fleas. And fleas, being parasites, are the perfect metaphor. Hear that. It's like the Shia Muslim saying they're of a different religion than the Sunni Muslim. Limbs and Christians are actually two competing sects of the same religion. Although the Christians won't admit that, and neither will the limbs, but it's true. And the limbs got it kind of forced on them because they're being hijacked, and they're hijacking. It's a mutual hijacking, and not in a good way. It's abject foolishness and an absurdity to every objective thinking person. And one of the best handlings of this I ever have seen is in the work of philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. And oh my, he nails it. I don't know how I've never seen Nietzsche before, and I really haven't. So Nietzsche wrote this book called The Antichrist. And really, if you look at it in the German, he's really probably not saying the Antichrist, he's saying the anti-Christian or against Christianity. And Nietzsche used the term Judeo-Christian in a decidedly negative sense. And he emphasized what he believed were neglected aspects of continuity between the Limish and the Christian worldviews. I'll tell you what I mean by that. He means there's stuff in the Limish religion that is really bad and harmful, and it gets carried right over into this Christian religion. And this is some fun stuff, folks. The Antichrist was originally published in 1895. Think about that, 1895. Now, it was written in 1888, 7 years earlier, right? But it was so controversial that the publishers would not publish it for 7 years. And as I said, the German title can either be the Antichrist or the Anti-Christian. I think it's probably Anti-Christian. I lived in Germany for 3 years, was nearly fluent at one time, but it's been many, many moons. As the Indians say, and I like to keep a multicultural program, so many moons. See, I care. Nietzsche claimed in the foreword of the book that he wrote the book for a very limited readership. And I understand Nietzsche because this work that we do really is for a very limited readership. Not because we want to limit it, but because there's just not many people that can get what we get the way that we get it. And these are the kind of people Nietzsche was looking for, and these are the kind of people that we're looking for. And if you're not this kind of people, you probably won't be happy here. So you probably should just do yourself a favor and leave now. But here's the people we're looking for. Here's the people we appeal to. People that are honest in intellectual matters. People that have the ability to endure hardness and passion of a presenter, i.e. me. If you've got to be loved up and stroked and petted and patted, not a whole lot of that here. Sometimes, but not a whole lot of that here. You have to have the ability to endure straight talk. You have to be up beyond the nationalism. You have to have strength which prefers questions no one dares to ask. You have to prefer the questions that no one wants to ask. You have to prefer the parts that people would rather leave alone. You have to like addressing the issues that most want to just sweep under the rug. You have to have the courage to not only face, but face down, dig in, and flesh out the forbidden. And you can't have any worry about the harmfulness of truth. Oh, Jeff, if you tell the truth, you're going to hurt a bunch of feels. Yeah? So? You can't be worried about that. And Nietzsche disdained all other readers. He says, if you're not a person that's honest in intellectual matters, if you're not able to endure my hardness and my passion, if you're not above politics, if you're not above nationalism, if you don't have the strength to question the questions that nobody asks, if you don't have courage to face the forbidden, and if you're not worried, and if you are worried about the harmfulness of truth, don't read this book. It's not for you. And if you're not that, then this isn't for you. It's really not. And only you can get yourself to this place. Basically, Nietzsche was a cousin writing to cousins. And Nietzsche expressed his dissatisfaction with modernity, with how we're doing stuff today. He disliked the contemporary cowardly compromise, the tolerance, and the resignation. He claimed it resulted in a perfect resignation, which is the innermost spirit of Christianity. Nietzsche was the first to recognize the sheeple phenomenon. And Christianity is the dominant worldview for 2,000 years. Almost everybody you look at is a sheep. A causes B. B is a result of A. People in this world are sheep because they've been taught to follow a shepherd for 2,000 years. And there's nobody continuing to call themselves a shepherd or be a priest, be a pastor, be a guru that isn't part of the shepherd sheep dominant paradigm. As long as you desire shepherding, you're a sheep. And as long as you're a sheep, there'll be shepherds lined up to fleece you. Nietzsche introduced the concept of will to power, not willpower, will to power. That driving force that is in real humans, real red-blooded men, real red-blooded women have a will to power. And power itself is in man. What is bad? All that proceeds from weakness is bad. Anything that takes your personal power from you is bad. Christianity takes your personal power. Don't believe me? It takes your personal power even down to your brain. What did the false apostle Paul say? Take every thought captive for Hero. Every thought. The false apostle Paul said, it's no longer I that liveth, but Hero that lives in me. Think of these things. Think of these things. It defeats your will. It destroys your will. It takes you from a ram and turns you into a sheep. And ain't nobody but a ram can get anything done, cousins. What is good? That which heightens the feeling of power, the will to power, that which makes you feel divine, sovereign, and free. That's good. What is bad? All that proceeds from weakness. What is happiness? The feeling that you've still got power, that you're in control, and that you're driving your own ship. But with power comes responsibility. And can I speak plainly and openly to you? The reason why you're so comfortable being a sheep is because you'd prefer not to have the responsibility for your own life. You'd rather have someone to blame or someone to bless. The feeling that you have faced resistance and overcome it through your own power and strength of will, that's happiness. And that's why so many of you aren't happy today. Because you're locked into this Christian fear and guilt, mind control, blood magic matrix. And anything that is resistance is evil, bad, from the devil, and you avoid it. And run home to guru, pastor, priest, prophet. So you never face any resistance on your own. You never overcome it on your own. And you never get that surge of will to power that says, ooh, I did that. I'm learning. I'm overcoming. I'm divine. I'm sovereign. I'm free. Real men, real women know I'm divine, I'm sovereign, I'm free. Sheep say divine, sovereign, and free. That's he. Think about it. Think about it. The weak and the ill constituted shall perish. The meek will not inherit the earth. That's a lie. The meek will be stomped down into the earth by the people that do inherit it. What's more harmful than any vice? Active sympathy for the ill constituted and the weak. Christianity that's foisted upon us by Christianity and really by the Judeo-Roman coalition. What does that mean? Active sympathy for the ill constituted and weak. Oh, Jeff, you shouldn't say anything bad about those people. They don't know any better. Did you ever think that the reason they don't know any better is because nobody ever had the guts to tell them the truth? Now, if I tell them the truth, they may still not know any better after I tell them. But if I don't tell them the truth, they don't get a chance to know better. And Nietzsche goes on to nail it. Nietzsche went on to say that mankind, out of fear, has bred a weak, sick type of human. Turn the other cheek. Meek shall inherit the earth. He blamed Christianity. And the real blame is really in Judaism, because that's where Christianity came from, for demonizing strong, higher humans. Intellectually strong humans are depraved by Christianity's teaching of original sin. You are a strong, powerful being with the spark of divinity within you, and you've allowed some guy in a dress to tell you that you've got original sin. And you find yourself devalued and disempowered by it. And mankind, according to Nietzsche, is corrupt when his highest values are depraved. And what are his highest values? All the values in which mankind at present summarizes its highest desiderata are decadence values. What's the best thing that people consider of people now? It's bad stuff. We continue to read. Mankind is depraved because it's lost its instincts and prefers what is harmful to it. Life itself is instinct for growth, for durability, for accumulation of forces, for power, for where the will to power is lacking, there's decline. Depravity results because the nihilistic life is meaningless values dominate under the holiest names. Do you know the saying, so earthly minded, so heavenly minded, they're of no earthly good? That's a true thing, and that's where Christianity wants you. They don't want you worried about what's going on here because they want to take things over here. They don't want you worried about what's going on here because they want to control things here. They don't want you to worry about what's going on here because they want to own everything here, including you while you're here. And they created a swell system that brings you back here over and over and over and over again. They don't want you divine. They don't want you sovereign. They don't want you free. They want you locked under original sin, a sheep following a shepherd. And most of you who claim to be truthers are very, very comfortable being a sheep under a shepherd in a system that is antithetical to that fire that burns in you as a truther. And yet somehow you've managed to never face it. You've managed to ignore it. You all mutually agree, yeah, we're truthers on everything but that, but we won't touch that. We won't talk about that. It's like you both got a big, huge zit on your face, and you both agreed not to say anything about it. You both have a crippling injury, and you've both agreed to ignore it. And here I come, pointing it out to you over and over and over again, and will continue to do so until you recognize it. That's what I do. Christianity as a religion of peace was despised by Nietzsche. According to Nietzsche's account, pity has a depressive effect. When you pity someone, you do them no good. In fact, you do them harm because pity is addictive. When a person gets pity, they start getting, and they like it. Oh yeah, it is terrible. Oh, I am so poor. I know I don't deserve it. And yeah. Misery loves company. So does pity. And it has a depressive effect. If someone's in a really bad situation, or if someone's just in a situation they think is bad and you pity them, you're not doing them any good. You're not doing them any good. Oh, I feel so sorry for that person over there. Well, stop it. You're not helping them, and you're not helping you. It brings a loss of vitality and strength, and it's harmful to life. It also preserves that which should naturally be destroyed. For noble morality, pity's a weakness, but for a Christian, it's a virtue. So, what are you saying, Jeff? I'm saying that if we had the tenacity and the bravery to say, that's weak ass shit right there. And if we had to tell the right to tell, if we had the love to tell people, you're being a little bitch. And if everybody told them they were being a little bitch, then they'd believe they're being a little bitch and they would buck up. Now, I think I'm right, but if I'm wrong, okay, I stand corrected. But I think I saw a couple pictures. I think I'm right. But if I'm not right, if I was right, it'd be a good point. So take the part of the point. You know, I don't have a whole lot of love for, what's his name? Trey Smith does the videos. Is that his name? I have a lot of disagreement with the content that he does. I have a lot of disagreement with the subjects that he touches. I have a lot of disagreement with the belief structure that he has. A lot of disappointment. Lot of difficulties with Trey Smith. A lot of difficulties with Trey Smith. But whether or not you like Trey Smith's content or not, from an objective point of view, I'm looking at trying to find Trey Smith. From an objective point of view, his shit is good. I may not like the content, but it's put together amazingly well. He puts together one hell of a video. And from what I can tell, he's paraplegic. And even if he wasn't, just pretend he was. Not him, but you know. So here's a guy that's paraplegic. It'd be really easy for him to just pity. Oh, poor me. I got no legs. This really sucks. And I'm sure it does. Oh man, I got nothing. I'm just, oh, pity. And oh, you're right, Trey. Poor you. Poor you. Here, have a sandwich. Here, have a $5 gift certificate at McDonald's. But no, even though he's probably a thorn in my side, he's like, well, maybe I ain't got no legs, but I can still work the shit out of a keyboard. And he produces, content aside, arguably some of the best shit on YouTube, video quality wise. What would pity have done for him? Nothing. He realized, well, shit, I better get to work. Maybe you should try it in your life, in your situation. Pity multiplies misery and conserves all that is miserable, and it's a prime instrument for the advancement of decadence. Pity persuades men to nothingness. Aristotle also recognized the unhealthiness of pity and prescribed tragedy as a purgative. Aristotle was hardcore. Aristotle was pretty damn smart. Think about what I just said. My granddaddy used to tell me, and this is a guy that had a furniture store in Dothan, Alabama, sold it, bought beachfront property in Florida back when it was like $100 a square foot, sold it when it was $1 million a square foot. And he said the man who had no shoes felt really bad for himself until he met the man that had no feet. Think of that one, cousins. And Nietzsche said that theology and philosophy practiced by priests and idealists are antithetical to reality and actuality. Popes, priests, preachers, prophets, and gurus are they don't live in the real world, and the real world the world they're telling you about isn't a real world and is never going to happen because it already did, and they're pretending that it's yet to come. They are scamming off of you. They're supposed to represent a high, pure, and superior spirit, and yet prove to be deniers, slanderers, and poisoners of life who stand truth upside down on its head. Talking about popes and priests and preachers and prophets and gurus. And Nietzsche never even dreamed about the worst things these people do. He didn't know that they were buggering kids and eating kids, but he still knew that the stuff they did represents the very worst in humanity. It's the worst of humans that wants to be a pope, priest, preacher, prophet, or guru. And it's the weakest of humans that wants to follow a pope, priest, preacher, prophet, or guru. Let me say that one more time. It is the worst of humanity that wants to be a pope, priest, preacher, prophet, or guru. And it's the weakest of humanity that wants to follow a pope, priest, preacher, prophet, or guru. These types, according to Nietzsche, invented a special kind of reason for cases in which no one need bother about reason. Here's a way to think so you don't have to think. Whenever you hear thou shalt, you just do what you're told. You don't think about it. You don't wonder about it. You don't analyze it. You just do what you're told. Thou shalt. And then you do what's followed. The Christian religion and its morality are based upon imaginary fictions. We've proven that for years. A God who counsels the love of enemy as well as friend is a God of a people who feel themselves as perishing and without hope. Christians have eliminated the attributes of virile manlich. That means like alpha type stuff, such as strength, bravery, pride, from the concept of God. You know, the Christian God now, the one that they want to believe in, not the one that's actually shown in the Old Testament, that they want to believe in a God that's loving and kind and peaceful. And I just want to run and jump on the Father's lap. Yeah, good luck with that. Didn't work out so good for the people that get on Daddy's lap right now. But where is strength in that God? Where is bravery in that God? Where is pride in that God? Not there. Nietzsche criticized the strong races of Northern Europe for accepting the Christian God, who's really the Limnish God, and not creating a new God of their own. Almost 2,000 years, he says, and no new God? He maintained that the traditional God of monotheism supports all the instincts of decadence, cowardice, and weariness of soul. And it does, and there's a reason for it. And there's a reason for the Limnish concept and the Roman concept of that God, because people that serve and worship that God are easily controlled, manipulated, dominated, and milked. We're going to get into this more in the days and weeks to come. Limnish and Christian priests and pastors survive and attain power by siding with decadence. And he had no idea the kind of decadence that these people are involved in. And to call them people is a stretch. Their resentment against those who were well constituted led them to invent another world, which that life affirmation would appear evil. You can't want to believe your own, you can't want to use your own mind. You've got to have the mind of Christ. You can't ask questions and investigate. You've got to have faith. You can't be strong in your own strength because it's the strength of Christ that carries you. I can do all things through Jesus. Why can't you try doing things by Jeffrey or Omo or the Rich or Stephen or Alan or Alicia? The resentment against those who were well constituted led them to invent another world where being a strong person would appear evil. That's religion. That's Christianity. That's Judeo-Christianity. We don't want rams. Rams are bad. Rams are evil. Rams are wicked. Rams are sinful. We need to pray for rams because we want everybody to be a sheep. In order to survive, the Limnish priests made use of the decadents and their large population. The Limnish were not decadents themselves, according to Nietzsche. They have the toughest national will to life which has ever existed on earth. Good point. However, they pretended to be decadent so they could place themselves at the head of all decadent movements, like the Christianity of Paul, so as to make something stronger than any party that affirms life. Some people, they pretend to be a victim so they can get you to buy into the victim mentality, and you really will be a victim because you don't know the mental judo they got. So you end up being a real victim. Judeo-Christianity. The joke's on you, not the Jew. Might get in trouble for saying that, but it really went well together, so I did anyway. Here's the 5 stages, according to Nietzsche, of denaturalizing values. First of all, the Mon, the rat bastard, got rid of everything that people delight in themselves of, except for those chosen people. It's all right for them to realize their power. It's all right for them. But for everybody else, no. You can't do that. Secondly, the concept of Mon is falsified. The Mon, your God, gets to be the strong one, the tough one, tells you what to do, and you never do it yourself. Third, morality is falsified. Morality is no longer an expression of life and growth. Instead, it preserves life by presenting well-being as dangerous temptation. Priestly agitators interpret all good fortune as a reward and all misfortune as punishment for disobedience or sin. The only way that you can learn that you're divine, you're sovereign, and you're free is to face problems, difficulties, challenges, overcome them yourself, and realize, ooh, I did that. What the prophet and the preacher wants you to do is see everything that goes wrong being from the devil and run to Mon so he can help you. That way, if you ever do get through it, they can say, oh, see, it was the Mon that did that for you. It ain't the Mon that gets you through. It's the man that gets you through. It ain't the Mon that gets you through. It's the woman that gets you through. The man, the woman. You are your own savior. You are your own guru. Guide your own spirit. Master your own ascension. Be your own guru. And then they falsify history. We've been over that. And boy, do I got something coming up for you. And then fifth, faith is codified in Scripture. A sacred book tells you what God says, and it's given to the priest. And you don't even take that back. They give you a sacred book. Mon gives a sacred book. But you can't learn straight from Mon. What's wrong with you? He gives the book to the priests or the prophets or the preachers, and they tell you what the book means. Think of any YouTube guru you know today that's a Bible, an AHAC believer. They're filtering from what the divine says through them to you. Some of them will tell you, I am the one. This is the message. And you can't get it unless you get it through them. That is, and you can't get it unless you get it through their book. Disobedience to the priest, the pastor, the preacher, the guru is sin. And subjecting yourself to the pastor, the priest, the preacher, the guru is redemption. Pastors, priests, preachers, and gurus use sin to gain and hold power, period. Think about this if you're a Christian. The Limist Church opposed and negated nature, reality, and the world as being sinful and unholy. Christianity then negated the Limist Church and its holy chosen people. According to Nietzsche, the little rebellious movement, which is baptized with the name of Hiru Distu, represents the Limist instinct once more. In other words, the priestly instinct can no longer stand the priest as a reality. They invent an even more abstract form of existence, even more unreal vision of the world. What he's trying to say there is, most people for a long time, about 4,000 years, we're told, were happy to have Mon, priest, us. And we'll just agree with everything that priest tells us. Well, then some people decided, you know what? I don't want to listen to a priest anymore. I don't want to listen to a priest anymore. I want a high priest that's been touched with the feelings of my infirmities. I want a high priest that hasn't always been tempted as I am. I don't want a priest that can't be married. I don't want a preacher. I want somebody that's done all this and experienced all that. So they make up a guy. They make up a guy. That's unreal. And then they follow him. Concepts like Mon and moral world order, sinner, redeemer, free will, beyond, last judgment, immortal soul. Those are consciously employed in order to provide power to the church and its priests. Mark Twain famously said, if it hadn't been for the first priest, there would have been no sinners. And then there was the false apostle Paul. He made immortality the main point in 1 Corinthians 15:17 when he said, if Hebrew be not raised, your faith is in vain. Paul used the promise of life after death as a way to seize tyrannical power over the masses of lower class people. Do what I say, when I say it, how I say it, and you can have some sweet by. You can go to the sweet by and by in the sky after you die. But you have to do everything I say while you're still around down here on the ground. That's Christianity in a nutshell. And are you ready for this? Nietzsche was right. Christianity exercises tyrannical power over the lower class people. And if you are a member of Christianity, I'll just say it out loud. If you're a Christian, you are a lower class person. If you are a Christian, you are a low class person. And a low-class person is a person that believes they're filled with original sin and refuses to hear that they've got the spark of the divine within. A low-class person is a person that needs a guru. And listen to me, New Agers. Here's a low-class person is a person that needs a spirit guide, that needs an ascended master, that needs some divinity outside of thee. Christianity is tyrannical power over low-class people. And if you're really low class, then maybe your ass should just stay Christian. But if you have higher aspirations, there is another way, and we're here to tell you about it. We're here to tell you about it. Belief is a sign of decadence, of a broken will to live, said Nietzsche. Be lie. There's a lie in the middle of every belief. When you start to believe, that means you have lost your will to live and to reason. The only reason you believe is because you're accepting somebody else's word for it. And the only reason you accept somebody else's word for it is because you're either too lazy to figure it out for yourself, or you don't have the confidence to believe that you can actually figure it out. And what does every priest tell you to do? Believe. What does every pastor tell you to do? Believe. What does every prophet tell you to do? Believe. What does every guru tell you to do? Believe. There's a lie in the middle of every belief, and there's a lie in the middle of every priest, prophet, pastor, preacher, or guru. When you catch yourself saying, I believe, realize you've given your power away. Well, I believe you've given your power away. Well, I believe you've given your own mind away. Well, I believe. If you believe you're broken, if you believe you're decadent, if you believe you're low class, no class, if you believe, you might as well just lay down in a hole and cover yourself with dirt because you're dead. Belief is a sign of a broken will. You only believe because you're either too lazy to figure it out for yourself, or you don't think, or you've lost the confidence to believe that you can. This is so powerful right here. Nietzsche said that you don't get converted to Christianity, you get sufficiently sick for it. Because a man that's a man will never submit to Christianity. A woman that's a woman will never submit to Christianity. The decadent and the sick types of people come to power through Christianity, and from everywhere they gather together the sick. And today, because of their work, the sick outnumber the healthy. Oh, so sick. I need Jeebus to help me. Every straightforward, honest, and scientific road to knowledge has to be repudiated by the church as a forbidden road. Even doubt is a sin. Lying or not wanting to see as one sees, a trait of those who are devoted to a party or a faction. Lying is utilized by all priests, pastors, prophets, preachers, and gurus. Nietzsche's problems with Christianity and Daugherty's problems with Christianity, every type of anti-nature is depraved. Everything that they don't like comes from original sin, and you're bad for believing it. The second proposition, participation in religion is an assassination attempt on public morality. Not only do we know that the things that they teach aren't right, but we know the things they do aren't right, and yet we still support them. How can you call yourself a Christian today when millions of Christian clergy are raping and sexually abusing children? How can you call yourself a Christian today when millions of clergy are eating children, sacrificing children? Christianity deifies sites and rituals. There is no place that's holy. There's no thing that's holy. You're holy. Christianity's teaching on chastity is an instigation to anti-nature. Oh, sex is bad. No, it's not. The Christian priest is a parasite. Yes, he is. So is the preacher, the pastor, the prophet, and the guru. They're all parasites. And parasites, by definition, suck blood. They do suck your blood and your money and your treasure. And only those that are weak and ill-constituted can be good Christians. So you can't think for yourself. You can't do for yourself. And Nietzsche said the Christian religion is the ultimate evil. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And you got to remember, it's Judeo-Christianity that is the ultimate enemy. Wow, that's some heavy stuff today, but it's some good stuff today. And it gets less heavy and it gets more digestible when you are using the C60 Purple Power. You can go to c60purplepower.com, use the code TCW10, you get a nice discount, and you're able to get this great product and change your life by using it. Come on, work with me. There we go. Let's go to the chat room and see what we're going to see. This ought to be fun. This ought to be fun. That's a tough one. That was a hard one, but it was a good one. Yes, the Mormons are very much into the Zionist movement, no doubt about it. Yes, they're brainwashed. Let's see. And Two Trees is right. Fluffy and Mistech will help you get it. Garrett says, and this is so true, be bold or go home. That's just the way it is here. That's just the way it is here. Plato said, the only thing I know is that I don't know. And that's so true. As soon as you think you know, you don't. Jeff, you confirmed lots of what I suspect. Always grateful. Still, I'm always questioning. Perfect. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. Nothing stinks like a sheep pen. Ooh, isn't that the truth? And they're walking around in that stuff. They're walking around in that stuff. Sheepalism was alive and well before Jeff came along, before we came along. We are changing things for the good. We really are. Hebrew is a hijacker. He commandeers your vehicle. What's that called what's that called? It's a carjacking. He's a carjacker. Absolutely. He's a carjacker. Hebrew does want to take your wheel. Carrie Underwood was right. Don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. I wouldn't, imaginary man. I would not do it. Not myself. Yeah, that is an absolute life changer, isn't it? Will to power. It is a life changer, Sherry. Boom. Yeah, I would recommend that. Highly recommend that. Giving up Christianity is the best thing we ever did. Absolutely. Absolutely. 2020, time to see clearly. I like that. They want us following this script. That's right. But we don't have to. We don't have to. What did Kim say? When someone says, pray for me, I see it as an insult. They pity me. Ooh. And see, it's all about pity. And pity's powerful. Pity, powerful. Powerful pity. Very, very good. Christianity took our divine identity from us. They are bottom feeders. And I know that stings, but it's true. If the hat fits, put it on. They want you to be limp-wristed pacifists. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Joe Biden said he loves children bouncing on his lap. I bet he does. And so does the Mon. Thank you, Rich. Religion bestows power to kings and governors. Have you never read Romans? There is no power except that which is appointed by the divine. Who are you to question the divine? Pay your taxes. Do what you're told, and they won't beat you or they won't hit you with the sword. Wow. People with strong faith are zombies. That's right, Omo. Absolutely, 100%. A slave can never use their own brains. They just have to listen to the master. 100%. The creator will contact you directly. No middleman. Absolutely. And it must be said, no middle woman. They deprive us of activating our own divine anointing. Absolutely. Chrissy's like, where the hell am I? Exactly where you're supposed to be, Chrissy. Listen and learn. Disregard authorities of any kind. Follow your inner power. Love it. Love it. Love it. Overcame homelessness while on stroke protocol. Now working on millionaireship and helping people's causes. Boom. We are God. I salute you, bro. That's the way to do it. No pity there. Bam. Oh my God. What is blood poisoning? Well, blood poisoning is when you believe that the blood of another being can save you. Blood poisoning is when you think that there's power in another being's blood. Blood poisoning is when you get on knees and lift hands and ask an entity to come into your life because he shed his blood for you. That's blood poisoning. And all the thought that comes from that is blood poisoning. Pastors continue to fool their sheep because of their own gain. Absolutely. Why do you have sheep? So you can cut their wool. You have sheep so you can fleece them and make money off of them. And then when you can't fleece them anymore and they stop being good producers, you kill them and you eat them. Why do you think you're called a sheep and they're called a shepherd? Shepherds fleece you, then they eat you. They've told you straight up front what you're getting into. You're going to be the sheep and I'm going to be the shepherd. How's that sound? Great. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on, people. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, absolutely, Christy. Don't know if it's the worst. It might actually be one of the best, but it's still a cult. And yeah, I would recommend you do a little independent thinking, even though you're going to have to get untheocratically minded in order to get yourself free. But you can do it. You can do it. Is ancestry another form of religion? Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe so. Let's see. Over 100,000 changes in the Western AHAC in 1,000 years. Yep. Humans do nothing but desire, and the desire is to suffer. That's very poetic. Oh, I like this. See, you're starting to get it already. The Mon creates a loophole for a rule that he created and then he needs to fix. Like he saves you from the sin he gave you. That's a good one. You're already starting to get it. You're supposed to be here because they just want power and control. Boom. There you go, girl. You got it. You got it. You know there's a reason why you're here because you're right on track. Wake up. Don't let them take your spirit, I would say, or your soul. Great for you, Garrett. Absolutely. This is the type of Sunday service we needed all along. I agree. It's a brand new concept to think that most people have been fooled. And that's why it's such a difficult concept to convince people they've been fooled. How could I be fooled? I'm smart. But then you realize that you have been fooled. And I'm not here to tell you that you've been fooled. Well, I am, but I'm hopefully here to give you information that allows you to say, oh, shit, I've been fooled. And then give you ability to unfool yourself, because we're not here to pity you. We're not here to save you. We're here to give you the tools you need. That's why I'm the mailman. I bring you the information. I bring you the mail and hope that you'll do right with it. Folks, I know we live in a world of people that say that the end is coming. It's their end, not ours. We're just getting started. I know we live in a world of people that say it's bad and it's getting worse, but it's good and it's getting better. We're the last generation of real humans. We've been called to be here at this time. And even though their world continues to go to hell, we keep winning, and then we win again. That's just the way we work. How do we do it? We unindoctrinate ourselves and we get busy. For Tracy Dyer and all of our great moderators, and for the lovely Cynthia, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, saluting you for being here, seeking after truth.